Hello everyone, welcome to my January 16th League of Legends DFS slate breakdown. We could just go ahead and get straight into recapping yesterday quickly. First series was EDG Thunder Talk. EDG get the job done 2-0. Not much to say. I believe EDG was minus 5,000 was the odds I looked at yesterday. And they looked about it. Maybe it was a little bit closer maybe than a comfort, but they got it done in the end for sure. I mean, they won both games pre-25, which is pretty one-sided. This is probably about as one-sided of a matchup you'll see in the LPL. But maybe we'll see something different going forward. Here, the second series is a lot more interesting. It is Top Esports against Ultra Prime. And if you guys recall from yesterday, I ended up picking Ultra Prime as the large underdog. I think they were like plus 500 something, or like plus 450 or something like that. Top was minus 700 for context. And I think in hindsight, that was probably a good call. I think something that maybe not experienced like bettors and people in this industry general, like newer people that in this industry, newer people don't realize, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is that sometimes you can be wrong and right at the same time. Like, although Ultra Prime didn't get the upset, I still think they looked good in this series, like relative to Top Esports' level. And you cannot like say in hindsight when they go to like a third map like this at a minus 700 favorite, Top Esports look like. Ultra Prime kind of drafted themselves out of a win in game one. I don't know why Elk is on Ziggs. Like, Ziggs is like something you put your AD on when you want to like play away from him, but then they kept playing around bottom anyway. Hacker didn't look good. They just kind of ran it down. Xiaopeng looked pretty strong. That's something to note going forward as a top. Xiaopeng looks pretty crazy. Knight is okay, or no, obviously, like, for his expectations, he was pretty okay. He was obviously still really strong compared to Cryan, but Jackula ran it down in game two. Elk obviously a 16 kill game. They need him heavily. That's something that's to look forward, to remember going forward with Ultra Prime, is that this team is probably just going to run through Elk. So when they do get wins, it will be through him. Keep that in mind, I guess, when you're looking for like DFS captains, that kind of thing. I think the big takeaway here is Cryan did go with the quirky first two games. He got an equally strong, I think, pick with the Victor in game three. But then this, I don't know what on earth this Ultra Prime game three draft is. Like, why would you go to the Rek'Sai, which seems absolutely terrible in this meta? You go to the poke lethality Zaya. I just don't know what the purpose of this was and why this is like what they pulled out in game three. They went so far away from what they won with in game two. This is like one of the most tilting, frustrating things about watching LPL. Or I guess like this goes for like all teams. Like the LCK is not an exception to this. Their coaching and like preparation is better. I don't think there's any questioning that. But like, what? It compels you to like, so you lose the Corki and Lee Sin, and then you go to Rek'Sai Zaya. Like, what? Why? This game three draft seemed lost before it even played, and then it looked as bad as it was drafted. I'm just not sure. This is an extremely tilting game three from Ultra Prime. I think that like team skill wise, this was actually like close. Like, these are close teams, I think. Maybe not in like individual talent, but when you put all the team together, it was close. So I'm pretty happy with kind of calling that game was a lot closer than it was, because it was. So that's this longest point ever. But when you say like Ultra Prime and Top should be a lot closer, and then it's priced at minus 700, you kind of just have to go with Ultra Prime if you think it's going to be a lot closer. And it was. I think it was a close series. The third game was a little bit of a stomp that got away from them early. But I think that was just like kind of with this draft. Like, what can you do? You have Stride Breaker, Rek'Sai in 2022. Like, I just don't understand that at all. I think if Ultra Prime or if they're like on equal drafts, I think this is like a close game. But I mean, it is what it is. It's what you're getting when you're hoping for an upset with a lower end LPL team. And then the third series was RA LNG. Again, this was one I don't remember what the odds were. I'm gonna have to like pull them up in my video or something. But I think LNG was like minus 300 or something, minus 350, something like that. And I said this was gonna be a close series, and it was. And LNG ended up getting the huge comeback. I think they were down like 4, 5, maybe 6K or something in this third game. And RA looked good. LNG looked good. I think these are both like top 5 teams probably. Maybe it's a little bit too early to say that for Rare Adam just because they have rookie, middle and support. Shouldn't just say rookie because he's playing later. But yeah, I mean, RA looked good. LNG looked good. I actually like these teams. These are going to be like 2 of my favorites for like betting and DFS purposes going forward. The kill totals were a little low, so the DFS things may be a little like series to series dependent. But I think when you say, you have to realize like what you're predicting is like going to be a mini tangent unrelated to this game. But when you look at predictions, when you look at predictors, and you look at what people are talking about, you kind of have to take into context that most people are going to be playing within variables and like variation and that sort of thing. If you say LNG win this matchup 65% of the time, and then the Vegas odds have them priced at like 75% of the time, you think there's a 10% discrepancy in what's going to happen. So you have to play within that variation. It's not that you're going to get every prediction right. That's obviously impossible. Everyone is striving, I guess, to do that, but it's not realistic for sure. So you just kind of have to take like what you think is going to happen and apply it to what happened. And I feel like for both of the second and third series between Ultra Prime and Top, and then what happened between Rare Atom and LNG, I feel like kind of what my prediction was for these series is kind of what happened. Although the team that I picked to win didn't win, that doesn't necessarily make me wrong in analyzing a series. It just means that within the variations of the outcome I predicted was going to happen didn't happen. And that's kind of the margins you have to play in when you're doing something like esports betting in DFS. So I just want to make that point. I don't know why. It just seemed relevant when you're analyzing some close games like this. And yeah, I mean, RA easily could have won this series. And I think maybe the fact that LNG did maybe like save some hype from Rare Atom, because I think RA might be a like sleeper, like really strong team as we continue. I think people are going to want to continue to ignore them because they have a rookie mid and support, but I like them a lot. I mean, they're probably like around like the 5th best team, somewhere around there. I'd have to like reanalyze everything, but I mean, LNG's up there, Ray Atom up there. I think this was like a battle of top 5 teams, and it ended up being close. So that's something that I was, I guess, kind of proud of with kind of predicting these games and teams and their strengths and that kind of stuff. Heading over to the LCK, I can't remember, it's here. All right, so these were some uninteresting series. Nongshim they actually weren't that huge of a favorite. I had them priced as a big favorite. Oh, sorry, it was my odds from today. We can get over it a little bit. But I remember I had Nongshim as a minus 800, and they were in the betting line minus 220, which is obviously a huge disparity of what my belief is compared to the Vegas odds. They did get the 2-0. They weren't exactly the cleanest games. The second game was. The first game was a little on edge until maybe like 25 minutes. And then they kind of pulled apart a little bit. But I still think Nongshim is an extremely strong team going forward. I feel like Live Sandbox is maybe a team that's looked good twice now. So maybe they're more in the middle of the pack than I had given them credit for previously. But this Nongshim team I like going forward. Peter didn't really get to display anything because he was put on Yumi game one, which he actually did look good on, within the realm of playing Yumi. And then the same for the Braum. Mainly it was just Dread being pretty strong, like across the board, and then being enabled by strong top and mid laners. So that's what I'm liking about this Nongshim team. It's kind of like a little bit scuffed version of Damwon last year when they were just allowing Canyon to go crazy because of strong solo laners. And coincidentally, they have Ghost here who can play the Ghost role. So that is fortunate for them. I'm liking Nongshim going forward. Sandbox is maybe a little bit better than I'm giving them credit. They're probably maybe like 5th, 6th in that area of the best team, maybe. Then heading over to the second series, I think, if memory serves, Kwangdong Freaks were actually the slight favorite. And then I had KT listed as the favorite. KT did end up getting the 2-0. So I think when you do look at like my predictions as a whole from yesterday, I think I went 4-1 overall with this slight underdog, and then I'm not sure. I'll have to. You guys can see my record in the description of the videos. I like to keep them up to date and also with context of odds, because anyone can have like a good day prediction, but if they're just calling for 1,000 minus 1,000 favorites, it's not exactly a crazy skill. So this one I was pretty proud of as well. This game went probably like to plan. I think this KT roster team is looking pretty good. I feel like Arya coming over from Detonation Focus Me, then Aiming coming over from BLG in the LPL. They look pretty good. Cuz enabling them. Rascal seems a little not a part of the team, a little I'm not sure what the word I'm going for is. He just is kind of like separated from the rest of the team right now. But I think maybe when they get him like integrated a little bit more, they're going to be much stronger. I'm liking them a good bit. I think they might be like a little bit higher than with Sandbox. They might be in like the 6th best team, and then if Sandbox is like the 7th best team, I think there's like a tier gap between them. But Kwangdong are not looking good. They feel like they should have solid players, but these players just seem like they're kind of, I don't want to say washed. That seems harsh, but it just doesn't seem like they are like excited or like here to win. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm not liking what I've seen so far from the KDF team. Looking forward or looking ahead today, I'm going to continue this trend. I like doing this. This is a strategy that I've kind of picked up over the years of creating your own odds and then comparing them to the Vegas odds. My apologies. I'm still sick. I've been sick for about 2 weeks now, so it's getting a little annoying, but we move on. And the reason I like it is because you can see where your opinions and where these values are different compared to probably like the rest of the field. In the esports, for DFS purposes at least, people rely on these Vegas odds pretty heavily, and the Vegas odds are often like copied from book to book. I think that's true for like every game, not just like League of Legends, for example. But I like making my odds, comparing them to Vegas odds, and then just making a decision from there. Like if the first one I have up here is Hanwha minus 240, Bro 200, Hanwha minus 145. That means I think Hanwha's a lot bigger of a favorite than Vegas is giving them credit for. And that's something to consider looking forward. Sorry, I closed my a wiki tab here. But if we look at this series, like maybe I am somebody giving them a little bit too much credit, but I feel like Nongshim actually like looked good in their first and second series. I guess maybe not. They haven't looked good necessarily. But I think Nongshim are like they're good overall. So you have to put a little bit of stock into a Hanwha upset over them. And then Fred at Breon, I mean, they got like kind of stomped. I mean, they did win the game. against T1, but I don't know. Like, is there really that little of a gap between this team that was I believe it was Sword, Umpty, Lava, Henna, and Delight. Like these are just like lower end filler players. Like I don't know. Like I'm just not seeing it with this Reddit Brown team. I feel like they're probably like easily the worst team, and they play at a snail's pace, which even like kind of enables them to get macroed on even easier. Um, see if they're nope, it's not updated yet. The I was gonna check the Hanwha roster from last game. It was Dudu, Onafleet, Karis, Samdi, and Vista. Like these are good players. Like Samdi had a good performance in game 3 when it mattered. Like Dudu did his role. He was just kind of on the split push Trinamir, which wasn't like crazy. But like Onfleek looked good. Karis looked pretty decent. Jog my memory from where Karis is from. Yeah, the Gen G challengers. Pretty much their whole team is just in Korea now, or in LCK. So, I mean, I like what Han was doing. I mean, I like them a lot better than Fred at Brion, that's for sure. I have them at minus 240. I mean, that's a big gap. I'm probably not going to be like betting it or playing it DFS wise just because Fred at Brion seemed to make it the whole series just abysmal to watch. But it is what it is. So we move on from there. There's not a lot to garner, I don't think, from that series. And then we move on to the other LCK matchup, Genji Damwon. I went back and forth with making my own odds on this one. I kind of had it priced like a pick'em at the beginning, but I feel like more I thought about it and more I looked into it, I kind of leaned Genji more and more. I understand why Damwon is getting the favorites price at minus 120 and then Genji at minus 108, so they're a slight underdog. So that's something where you can look at the odds and look at your odds compared to the Vegas odds and see the discrepancy there. Like I have Genji favored; they have them as the underdog. I feel like Genji are probably the best team in Korea. I mean, I just love their players and what they build and what they do. They're like proactive. I think they bring their like kind of LPL style from Peanut for the Genji team that was like already like pretty aggressive in the first place. I think they're gonna. This feels like a bold statement. Like maybe a little bit. It is a little bit too bold. I feel like they're gonna kind of like tear this league apart, using their like kind of more LPL style, bringing in Peanut, obviously Chovy from Hanwha. I'm not a big fan of him, but I mean he can perform well in this team for sure. Same with Ruler, Lehens, Doran. Like all these players are great players, and I think I love their style. I love everything they can do. I think they're probably the best team in this league, and I think this is a great opportunity for them to show it. I wanted to bring up the Damwon last series. I mean, they have Hoya, Canyon, Showmaker, Duckdom, and Kellen. Like, Hoya versus Doran is definitely going to be favored Doran. Canyon, Showmaker is... they're going to be better than Peanut and Chovy, but I don't think by a lot. And then Ruler and Lehens are going to be better than Duckdom and Kellen. Like, this is going to be a scrappy... I think this is going to be a scrappy, kill-heavy game. One I like for DFS purposes, for sure. Maybe not the most, just because the LPL games can get crazy. We'll talk about that a little bit later, though. I just wasn't like all that impressed with Damwon in the first series. I'm still skeptical of how everything will come together. Although I do like Duckdom and Kellen, you know, you're kind of asking them to beat who I think is the best team in the league. I just don't think they can. I'm not sure if maybe like it seems maybe a little bit aggressive to say Genji will 2-0, but I feel like maybe they will. Maybe this goes 3 just because of the pedigree of Damwon. But I like Genji to get the job done in 2 or 3. Well, I'll probably make that decision a little bit when I give out my final things here. Then heading over to the first LPL game, there's OMG minus 125, Invictus plus 106. I have OMG minus 210. Apologies here. I'm still trying to fight through this. And this is a interesting score or interesting odd like discrepancy, I guess. I mean, it's not that much. It's only about like 90 points. So it's pretty close. Again, these are not like predictions of what I think the odds will be. This is what I would line them as. Because I know Invictus Gaming is going to get kind of like the quote unquote like Steam, like they're going to be bet. They're like a fan favorite team, I guess. And OMG is definitely not. But I've been liking what I've been seeing from OG. Head over to their information. Like they 2-0'd Anyone's Legend, 2-0'd Thunder Talk. So those probably like they 2-0'd like two of the worst teams in the league. Like there's no question about that. Like I think Thunder Talk are probably tied with WE as the worst team in the league, and then Anyone's Legend's like not that much ahead of them. But the main thing here is Cream, the Cream factor. Cream, I think, is emerging like before our eyes to be like one of the all-star mid laners of the entire world, and then he has like there is good enough support around him between Shanji, Aki, and Abel. My apologies. Jeez, try to get through this one, I guess, a little bit faster, but yeah, I mean, like I don't hate this OMG roster or this IG roster. Again, they've only played Thunder Talk. I don't think they looked particularly great in that matchup, but I mean, I still think they have potential. I think they're going to get better as the split goes on. They have a lot of young players and Lucas. And I believe in like most of these players, like UK and Zhao Yuzhe. I think they're going to continue to improve. But I think for now, like Nini and Shun is kind of the only proven entity here. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I mean, I'm not buying a lot into this IG team right now. So I'll go with OG. I'm liking them a good bit. I think this is going to be a pretty heavy DFS matchup. I think you're probably going to want one of the two sides of this. At least as a part of a stack, or like a secondary stack at least. But everyone else will. Then the second one is Victory 5 WE. I have them minus 300. They have them as minus 220. So that's pretty close. It seems like about the same bracket, maybe like a little bit different, but like I said earlier, I think this WE team is like tied as like the worst team in the league, and I like this Victory 5 team. I wish they had played Rich instead of Invincible. I'm not sure exactly why that Invincible is playing over Rich. Maybe like Rich isn't able to get in the country. I'm not entirely sure. That information I don't think is public. But I mean, I like Karsa and Rookie a lot. I think Rookie in a new team will be able to shine. Like he's always been a special like solo laner, but I think he was kind of bogged down from the Shy, someone who you guys know I do not like at all. And I think PP God is like, as much as he's like memed about, he's actually like a strong player. Like he becomes like his legend precedes him, much like I think Chovy does a little bit. But I think he's a still really good player, especially on things like his Thresh. And Photic, he was a World Stop support, I believe. He played with Top Esports. There's not much. I think the like jury's still out a little bit on Photic, but he's gonna be. I think like at worst he's like decent, like at the same level as Stay. So, like the upside's all there for Photic. I just think this Victory 5 team makes a lot of sense. It's going to be their first series, but I'm liking their bottom lane. And pretty much everyone except for top. I'm just not sure what their plan is with the Invincible here. So I'm liking Karsa, Rookie, Photic, PP God. This is probably like a decent like secondary stack. I think when you look at the other games, I think Damwon Genji should be bloody. I think OMG IG should be bloody. OMG IG is probably 1, Damwon Genji 2, and then maybe like WE Victory 5 is third. And then our fourth matchup is BLG Weibo. I have them minus 200, Weibo plus 150, and then over here in Bovada it's 145, 112. The important thing here, I guess, with BLG is that Doggo's starting. For some reason, it was kind of like expected that Uzi would play, and I'm just not sure why. I never thought Uzi was going to be playing, but then he was like advertised to play on like the streams, and he was like part of the graphics. So it seemed like maybe the LPL knew something that we didn't, and that Uzi would play. But it is going to be Doggo. People might view that as like a downgrade or something, but I think Doggo is better than Uzi right now. I'm not saying anything disrespectful about Uzi's legacy. I think for this split right now, Doggo is going to be better. He played at Worlds last year, and he was a very strong player. And then you have Fofo, Weiwei, and Breathe. Like, those are very good top, like, 5 LPL players in each of those roles. And then you have Chris coming over. And if you guys remember me talking about Weibo in the last series they played, I said they're going to gatekeep teams below them and probably lose to teams above them. And I think BLG is just a team above them. I think maybe this could be like a 2-1 just because it is BLG's first series. Maybe they have like a slow first map or something. But I'm liking BLG in this series. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to fare like so early necessarily, but yeah, I'll go BLG. I'll go BLG. I guess we could transition to... Oh, I should mention the Breathe versus the Shy might be the biggest top lane gap possible. I think Breathe is maybe the best top laner in the LPL. The Shy, maybe he's not the worst, but he will die the most. So that's definitely something I'm targeting. Like, even like, if you want to get super crazy with like DFS roster construction, you could like one-off Breathe against the Shy, and then just like hope he gets like 5-6 kills, something like that, which I think is possible. All right, try to give my quick predictions before I'm die on camera. So starting off in the LCK from top to bottom, Hanwha over Brion. I'll go Hanwha 2-0. I feel like Brion are just really bad. For Genji, Damwon, I'll go Genji 2-1. I just feel like they're better. And although Damwon still have pedigree enough to maybe take a map through Canyon and Showmaker. OMG IG, I'll go OMG 2-0 with the cream effect being the difference maker. V5 2-0 over WE. Again, I think WE is just probably like one of the worst teams in the LPL. Then BLG, I'll go BLG 2-1 over Weibo. I think Weibo still have like strong pieces and they're pretty good still, but it's going to be hard for the Shy against Breathe for sure. So that's going to be my predictions for the day. Hopefully you guys have a good one. I'll see you guys tomorrow.